up on the other side. Niggas acting like we tied. I've been gone since like July. Niggas acting like I died. They won't be expecting shit when Capo go to slide. Cause I told them that we put that shit behind us, but I lied. Hey, hey, look who I'm around, man.
So 2013, actually, that year I qualified elite, had that whole season. I was dealing with the most painful thing I was dealing with at the time was my hamstring. So sometime earlier in that year, I tore my hamstring, and it was the hamstring where it connects to the bone that you sit on, basically.
Yeah.
That's where I tore it, and there was an avulsion fracture, which means it tore part of the bone off too. So,
oh my God.
So yeah, I was training on that constantly. Jeez. And I remember at P&G Championships, it was day 2 of competition because there's 2 days. Yeah. And I remember during warm-ups, I just started crying.
Yeah, no, it hurts.
And
like, yeah.
My coach was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I'm in so much pain." So there was my hamstring. I had some kind of something going on in my lower leg, where it hurt to touch. Like, I don't know what it was. But you put a good amount of pressure on it, and it felt like I was being stabbed. I was working on 3 stress fractures in my back at the time, and I didn't know. Also probably some other things, but we don't know for sure.
But it was there. It was there. Yeah, it was
there. I was dealing with a shoulder pain. I think at that point I had some kind of slightly torn something. I forgot what it was called. So it was a lot. It was a lot of different pain all over my body, plus just general soreness and joint pain from all of the pounding from tumbling and vaulting and hard landings. See, in training, you don't do a whole lot of hard landings. You kind of land on softer mats or mats that are in the pit, so it doesn't hurt your body so much. But in competition, when you're at P&G Championships, there are no soft landings. Like, it's all hard landings. So on top of like just the normal pain of that kind of competition, I just had a stack of injuries. So right after P&G Championships, so yeah, I placed 11th at that competition. There was another girl. So right after P&G's, like a month or 2 later, there's a competition called Jesolo, and it's in Italy, and that's where the national team goes to compete over in Italy. They do it they used to do it every year. I don't know if they still do, but there was a girl that I think she placed 12th. She was right behind me, I think. Dang. And she was called to national team to go to Italy because I was injured. Wow. I was like, but right after P&G's, I had to take 4 months off to let my hamstring heal. Yeah. And when I say 4 months off, I don't mean 4 months out of the gym. I just mean 4 months, like, not doing things that like injure myself even more. So
see, that's what people don't understand about like athletes that are like looking to go like high levels of professionals. You're not off. Like, when people say like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking time off," you're still working and you're doing like rehab, and you're still also working on stuff that just won't injure that part of your body. So like, so you're still probably
it's a grind still. It's a grind. Jesus, so yeah, I had to take 4 months it took 4 months for that thing to heal fully, and it was so annoying. 2 months into that process, my doctor had got me started on prednisone, which is a steroid, because it wasn't healing. So they had to do something. So that definitely worked. And then after that 4 months, I started to train fully for a month, and I was like, man, my back is starting to hurt really bad again, like it was during the season. So I went to the doctor, and they looked at that, and they're like, "Oh, you have 3 stress fractures." I'm like, "Oh,
cool." So that was the broken growth plates. Like, was that bad? That was something completely different.
I don't remember ever having a growth plate issue.
Okay, because I'm about to say, because I looked online and they said that you had like fractured or broken, or like fractured growth plates in your back, and then you had like recovered by the summer, and then you had like a torn ACL and an MCL.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Just not the growth plate thing.
Okay, not the growth plate. All right, so somebody got to fix the site. She was not out here with a broken back.
There's all kinds of information out there. I'm like, really, that's not even accurate.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't remember you having a broken back.
I sure did, though. I had to wear a back brace for months after that. I couldn't run or jump for a long time. So my coach had me get a LA Fitness membership so that I could do like elliptical and leg press and stuff like that, which actually was very beneficial. I came back and my legs were like mad strong. Yeah. But so yeah, I had to take another 4 months off for my back. And then a few months into training after that, I was a week out of classics and I tore my ACL and meniscus.
Yeah. I think I remember that. I remember when you tore your ACL. I remember that.
Yeah, it sucked. Yeah. For real. It was so trash. But I was like, whatever. That was like really my first major injury, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I guess the hamstring thing was major too, but it didn't require surgery, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yep. So that was a 8 to 10 month long healing process. And then started to come back from that, and my knee was bothering me. I ended up having to get a meniscus repair.
Dang.
And then started to come back from that, and my knee was still bothering me again. So my third knee surgery was just them taking a small part of the meniscus out. And then I came back from that, whatever. And then my senior year.
Yeah. So this is still high school.
Yeah, we're still in high school.
Man.
My senior year, at my first competition, my senior year, I tore my other ACL.
Oh man.
I don't remember. I don't think there was a meniscus. I don't know. I can't remember. I have a bad memory, clearly. But
it's kind of hard to remember all of that. Like that's like I'm just sitting. Like I'm like you'll probably see this video back. I'm just sitting here all the time, like.
Yeah, that's just the major injuries. We're not talking about sprains, pulls, strains, like.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now, at the time, I thought I was just a chronically injured kid.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I was severely overtrained. There's no way around that. That responsibility falls completely on my coach. So, yep. And that's. Oh, and then there's the injury that completely took me out of the sport. So, after I came back from my fourth knee surgery, I got to college on full ride for University of Florida. Now I got lucky with University of Florida too, because
explain that. Like, how did that process work? Like the whole, like getting the offer, like, explain a little bit.
Yeah. So, 8th grade. Yep. The summer after 8th grade was when P&Gs and all that stuff happened for me. That 1 year that I just went crazy. So then it was right after that when I was going into high school. At the time that I was 9th grade, colleges were allowed to start recruiting you right after middle school. So I had letters. Just getting letters like crazy from everywhere.
You remind me of my boy Aaron. He was one of the I interviewed him. His brother's Eric Gordon on the Houston Rockets. He was one of the most highly recruited basketball players ever. That was the most wildest interview I've ever had. Like, he talked about how he was getting offered in the 8th grade. And like he played with He's friends with Shaq's son now. Like there's like so much stuff. He plays with volleyball, and he's finishing his senior year. He's about to go pro. So like, but it's just so interesting hearing about like the recruiting process from highly successful athletes.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Like, yeah.
For me, so I mean, recruiting processes can go very different for different people. Mm-hmm. Some gymnasts have to reach out to colleges if they're not getting that attention.
Right.
For me, since I competed at PNGs and I was elite, college coaches are all over those competitions. So I just started getting letters like crazy. It was the coolest thing. I was like, what?
Those letters are dope.
So wild. And
you still have yours?
The letters?
Yeah.
No.
I'm about to say, I got mine.
Kept them.
I got mine in a shoebox. I'm gonna have to do a video on it one day, but I have my first letter from all the D3 schools. Then finally I got like my favorite letter is my Princeton letter. I still cherish that to this day. Just because I want to be like, yeah, I was black. I got a Princeton letter, dog. Like what?
Hey,
like, that's crazy.
I wish I would have kept mine, but the colleges, when I counted it up at the time, I was getting letters from 18 different colleges, and and it was so cool. So I had to pick which ones I could go see because my parents didn't have all the money to go see 18 different colleges, right? So my number one pick was Florida because everyone in Michigan wants to live in Florida, right?
Heck yeah, I'm trying to leave now. Where's the flight, man?
Yeah, and they're the Gators. I'm like, how many Gators are there? There's cats all over the place, right? Like cats, tigers, dogs, you know, there's no shade or nothing, but like, that's cool. Like they're Gators, like that's unique. And their team had just won nationals the year prior. So at the time they were the number one team. So I was like, I definitely want to go see them. And then I was like, probably Georgia and Alabama too. So I saw 4 schools. I saw University of Michigan. That was the first school I saw. That was pretty cool. So my recruitment visit was, it was wild. It was the Michigan versus Notre Dame game that was the record-breaking attendance.
Damn.
For like 103,000 people or something like that. I don't know.
Oh my God. And
they took me and another recruit down onto the football field, and that's where they offered the full ride scholarship. It was like a proposal.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you was getting proposed to already, man. Like, and
it was crazy.
And that was that night game too, right? That was the night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah, it was wild, and we had great seats too and everything. So
yeah, my seat was the couch. You was actually on the field. That's crazy.
They took us on the field. I was like, these football players are so big.
Yeah, but tell them to do it. But probably 2 of them can do a backflip like you. Like I'm telling you.
So that was really cool at the time. So the other recruit that was with me there, she went ahead and accepted it right there. And I looked at my dad kind of with this look like, should I accept it? And he just looked at me with a smile and he was like, not yet. Because I hadn't seen any other schools yet.
Smart man.
So yeah.
Smart man.
So now after I saw University of Michigan, I was like, nobody can top this. Like, this is amazing. All the money they have, the resources they have, like the school is amazing. And then I saw University of Florida and I was like,
it's even
SEC
crazy.
Is different. When they say the SEC is different, like it's different. So we flew into Florida. We made it a 3-day trip to see 3 different schools. So yeah, we flew into Florida. We did the recruitment visit there. They offered a scholarship. And then we drove to Alabama the next day. Did the visit there. Alabama was really cool because I got to talk to Nick Saban. Had a whole meeting with him. He let us sit in his office for a little bit.
I'm about to say, you remember Mason Phillips?
Yeah.
He's there now.
He's there
right now. I gotta get him on the interview, man, because I can't believe how he got there. Like his route is just nutty. Like I can't believe it. But that's cool that you were there too.
I don't know his story.
He was just running track in high school.
Yeah.
Got picked up. He broke one of the P-set records. Got picked up, went to Northwood. He was at Northwood.
Right.
And then was a D2 All-American, broke all the records at Northwood, and then got a graduate college offer to Alabama.
That's wild.
And I was just like, dude, like you went from Northwood to like, have you ever been to Northwood?
No, I don't. I've never even heard of it.
I'm about to say. I'm about to say I don't think you would, like your recruiting path. I don't even think you touched the D2. Like that was out the window. Like
not at all.
Yeah. So he went, that's funny you said. So he went to Northwood and was D2 All-American, and then he got to transfer up, graduate transfer, full scholarship up there. And I'm just like, bro, you played football. You better ask that man to, you know what I'm saying, get on the field.
For real.
But yeah,
Nick Saban was a cool guy too, like just very humble. His office is absolutely beautiful. I also met, do you know who Scott Cochran is?
I feel like it's very familiar. Very familiar.
He was the strength and conditioning coach for Alabama for a long time.
Yes.
With the crazy voice.
Yeah, the crazy. Yes. Yeah.
Now I met him too, and he took me in the football facility and had me get on a couple pieces of equipment, and I was so intimidated. I was like an awkward 14-year-old. Like they had me meet the I'm gonna put a video clip of him in here because I know exactly who you're talking about now. I'm gonna put a video clip.
You're a Bentley right now. I'm just gonna put spinners on that thing. I need you lower. Bam! Hit it! Oh, straighten your arm. Oh, that's mine. Yeah! I mean, come on, you already know.
You got to. He's funny. Yeah. But yeah, so that was cool. And then they had me meet the quarterback of the team at the time, and I was like, okay, who is this? I didn't care about football. I was a basketball person. I still am. Okay. But I was like, all right, here's just this really big guy standing in front of me. Okay, cool to meet you. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was really cool. Like
it had to be like McElroy. Oh man, it had to be.
It was some famous.
Because I think he definitely went to the league. I'm about to say, because if you're looking at 2016, no, because if you're looking at 2016, that was 2015, 2014. So I don't want to talk bad on cases, but a lot of the Alabama quarterbacks, they go to the league, but they don't really pan out that well. But they'll be like second string or backup guys, but they always win the national championship. But they like normally. So I'm trying to think who that could have been. Dang,
I have no idea. I don't even remember what he looked like. So.
Oh man, oh well.
Yeah, Alabama was cool. Not my favorite, but definitely still. Yeah. I think I still would have chose Alabama over Michigan. Okay. And then Georgia, I saw the next day. We drove to Georgia and saw Georgia the next day. Then we flew home out of Georgia, and so yeah, it was an exhausting and very exciting 3-day trip. It was very cool. All offered me scholarships, and if I could have seen more schools, I would have seen Oklahoma and LSU and UCLA. Like I would have gone to see more, but we couldn't afford it. But I'm totally cool with it because Florida was such a perfect place for me that I don't think any other school could have topped it for me personally. Yeah. But yeah, so that was a really cool thing. I knew as soon as I saw Florida that I wanted to go there. But then I was like, okay, let me keep an open mind, because I still have 2 more schools to see. But then after I saw it, it was like that night after we finished seeing all the schools, I was like, I want to go to Florida. And my parents were like, well, we got to think about it. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to school. Exactly. What's there to think about? Right. It wasn't even a logical thing for me. It was a heart thing. Like I just knew I belonged there. Yeah. So, now, Florida was great because, well, for so many reasons, but before I got there, because of all those injuries that I had, so I committed to Florida my freshman year in high school. Damn. Now, there was a 2.5-year, almost 3-year period that I didn't compete because of all of my injuries. Yeah. And a lot of other schools would have been like, sorry to break it to you, but because of your injuries, like we got to pull our offer, you know?
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah. It happened to one of my teammates. She was committed to Missouri at the time. And she wasn't even chronically injured. She just had one injury. She needed one ankle surgery and they just pulled it.
Yeah,
totally screwed her up. Now she ended up at a school that she loved, and it worked out for her. Thankfully,
but for a lot of people, it doesn't work out that way. Like it's like the difference between like a whole division or even ever playing again. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I was definitely really blessed that those coaches believed in me, believed that I would come back, and honored their commitment as well. So senior year, I signed, and that was great. And then I tore my ACL shortly after that. But they still were like, well, it's a contract. Like, I don't get how colleges get out of that. But
oh man, trust me, there's ways. Because I transferred, I've seen every type of paperwork you can think of.
Yeah,
they got it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's loopholes to everything. But so then when I got to college, you know, when you first get there, they put all the athletes through a whole what am I trying to say? Basically a process of making sure that everything physically is cleared. Like you're good to compete. You don't have any heart conditions. You don't have any
like a physical.
Whatever. Yeah. So I had told them that I was still dealing with back pain. They're like, all right, no worries. Let's just get a updated MRI on your back and make sure everything's good. And everything was not good. I was literally forced into retirement. They said that I could either transfer to another school and see if they'll allow me to compete. But at the University of Florida, I was at that point a liability, and it really just was not in my best interest to continue competing. They're like, if you continue to compete, you're going to suffer way more serious injuries than what you even currently have now. You could potentially paralyze yourself. Oh my God. And so I was like, you know what? I like using my legs. So
heck yeah.
You know, as much as it like killed me to retire, and I'm still honestly working through it.
That's real.
Just the way that things happened in my career, and then also the way it ended. I'm working through it. It's a work in progress. Even 5 years later, it's ridiculous. Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the back injuries that took me out. But the thing about the back injuries, it wasn't a specific landing. It wasn't a specific thing that I did. It was overtraining.
Over and over.
For years. Like I did gymnastics for 14 years, and I always say that I probably did about 20, maybe 22 years worth of gymnastics in that period of time. Just because of how like I was really worked into the ground, especially my last few years training, minus my senior year, because my senior year I switched over to different coaches. And they were so much more.
They were more lenient,
just on chill. They're like, we know you know what to do.
Right.
So, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that beeping.
Oh yeah, that's all good. I can hear you. Yes, that's right.
The alarm system.
Snap.
They're gonna turn it off in a minute.
Oh yeah, no, you straight. You straight.
Probably gonna want to edit this part out.
No, you're straight. No, you're straight. But no, that's so crazy. Like, yeah, no, I feel that for sure. And I definitely know with me, like, so I had, what happened to me? I don't even know if because I remember, I was over here complaining about one MRI because I'd never had an MRI before. And I was big. So they stuck me in like this tiny tube, and I had never had an MRI. And then on top of that, oh my God. So I remember like it was yesterday. They put me in this, they put me in the thing. They're like, you can listen to whatever music you want. I'm like, oh, this is dope. And I was just like, well, I don't want to tell them to like put on Detroit rap. And then they see the artist and then they start judging me because if they listen to it, it's just going to be all bad. And then I was like, you know, just put on rap. So guess what I listened to inside of the MRI? Megan Thee Stallion. And I'm a guy. So I'm hearing like WAP while I'm getting my MRI in a confined space. And I'm just like, and the headphones are awful. They're so trash.
Yeah.
They're so trash. Like the quality was so bad. And I'm a music guy too. So I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm hearing WAP. I'm getting an MRI. Probably about to get told that I just tore my meniscus, dog. Like it was just season's over.
No.
Like, it was just so funny. But that is, but what's amazing though is I always tell people, And especially like when it came to my little sister, because the reason why she went to an HBCU and is playing college tennis at her school, I always tell people like, hey, God forbid anything happens. If something was to happen to you, could you still go to school here and be happy? Because a lot of people will just pick somewhere because of the athletics and they will hate the environment. And it's just like, no, you want to go somewhere where you actually fit into the culture of the people and you feel like you're at home. That way, if something was to happen, you know what I'm saying? And we never ever want nothing to happen. We want people to, you know, win and do that stuff. But just think for yourself, like, let's say, like I said, I mean, you got Ukraine and Russia, like, you know what I'm saying? What happens if, like, God forbid, something went even crazier and just like, hey, sports ain't the number one thing going on in the world anymore. Like, can you still go to school there and be happy with that, you know? And that's a lot of things I think a lot of athletes don't necessarily think about all the time. And I'm glad that, like, you were able to have the experience where you could go to the colleges that you wanted to visit. And then on top of that, your dad is super smart. He reminds me of my dad, because I remember when I got my first offer, I was ready to go like, oh my God, I'm gonna commit right now. And they were trying to get me to commit. And when we went out and they, you know what I'm saying, they gonna make sure like a cute girl take you around to school if you a guy, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh my, I remember a sorority girl gave me a rose. And I was just like I said, I was super nerdy. So I was like, oh my God, bro, I'm coming here. Like, I'm gonna get a rose. Like, this girl cute as heck. I'm about to commit here like right now on scholarship. I'm gonna find a wife. I was thinking everything. Like they found out. They was like, man, this boy about to simp out, man. We got him. So I was like, but it's all about finding the right environment. And I'm glad I got it right the second time around for myself. You know what I'm saying? Finding a school that I was able to get there academically and find the jobs that I wanted, like the job opportunities I wanted. And it's so telling of Florida to be able to still honor your scholarship like that. Like, that is,
they really cool. Like,
that's really cool.
I put them through a lot.
But it's not your fault though. Like, you couldn't control that. Like, that's like I really was doing my best. Like, how did you know you were going to go into a physical that day and then that was going to be it? Like, how can you know that? Like,
oh my gosh.
You just thought, like, because like as an athlete, you're used to dealing with pain. Like pain.
Yeah.
Like CC Fletcher, whatever. I'm gonna have to send you his stuff. But CC Fletcher, his number one rule: pain is necessary. Like, you just understand. Like,
sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if you definitely probably found his stuff before, like if you into like lift, because I know you like lift and stuff like that too. You work out a lot, so you probably seen his stuff somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, he's very, very famous in the gym like atmosphere. So, but his number one rule, he has like his 10 commandments. It's like rule number 1: pain is necessary, and it is true, because like it's almost like if you're an athlete at a certain level, you almost learn to like pain. I don't know why. It's like, you know, like for me, like in football, like if my shoulders weren't sore, that means I wasn't hitting people hard enough.
Right.
Like, if I wasn't, you know, for you, it's like, if I don't jump and I land, I don't feel like that shock through my ankles. I didn't like stick the landing. Like, it's just like something weird. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely. It was like, if I wasn't sore the next day after practice, then I didn't condition hard enough. You know, that's definitely the mentality was. Now, there was a little bit of overkill to that for me.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some accuracy to that. Like, even now when I work out 5 days a week.
Yeah. You're a beast. I'm gonna say you're a beast. Bodybuilder. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't compete. I don't want to compete, nothing like that. But I'm like, I'll wake up the next day, I'm like, I ain't sore.
Yeah.
I gotta hit it really hard today. Like,
what's
wrong with this? You know, so, but I mean, there's definitely a difference though between pain and discomfort. There's like, yes, you should push through some pain, but also pain is your body telling you something. I wish I would have listened to my body for sure. Sure. All I did was mask my pain with 6 Aleve a day. Like,
that's crazy.
Crazy. So,
Because I'm about to say, I started.
Talk about toxic.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I had a college coach coming, and I definitely had high ankle sprains are like the worst. I hate those so much. And I was literally on crutches. This happened in 2016. I was on crutches, and do you remember when I had the blue dreads? I had like blue dreads. It was wild. It was like weird. It was for homecoming. So it was like for homecoming, I'm gonna have blue dreads for Salem football. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them boys, the Rocks. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their thing. You know, but I had a high ankle sprain in the week before. Was in the hospital. Was on crutches all week. I actually went to the homecoming dance on crutches, which was so goated. That was like so crazy. I was dancing with girls on crutches.
Oh God.
That was so lit. I was going crazy. One crutch up in the air, go hard. Anyway, but that game, this is so bad, but I'm not gonna say who, but you know, one of my family members, they had prescription 800 milligram painkillers, and they gave them to me, and I played the whole game, and I didn't even practice the whole week. The whole week, didn't even practice, didn't do anything. And I was a junior. This is like my junior year of high school. Literally didn't practice the whole week. Just knew the plays. And they was like, all right, can you run? Can you go? Because we need you. And they said, don't practice the whole week. Just take your painkillers before they get. When I tell you, I didn't feel anything.
I guess I shouldn't ask what it was, but
no, you don't need to know what it is. No, you don't need to know what it is, because but it was just like 800. It was like 800 milligram. Like I don't know if it was like an ibuprofen, but it was 800 milligrams. I had 2 of them. I didn't feel anything. Like I swear, I didn't feel anything. Somebody would probably put in the comments like, "Hey, like you was off something." Like you was.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but I didn't feel
Tylenol. That ibuprofen can only go so far.
And then you know what I mean? So now like transitioning into coaching, like how was that for you transitioning as a coach? And you look at yourself, obviously, because it's like when you're the player and you're the athlete, you're just like, oh my God, if I was a coach, I would do this. But then now you're looking at younger athletes and then they act like how you used to act. And you're like, oh my God, now I'm the coach and I got to tell them. You know, like, is there a balance of being like a player? Like, are you more of like an athlete friendly coach, or are you more like, you know, you got to be more stricter? Like, how do you find that balance in coaching? You know?
Well, I think that depends on the age range that I'm working with. With my level 2s, my littlest ones, I'm not trying to be their friend. Like, now I am not mean to them by any means. But definitely, like, here's the standard. This is what we follow. If you're not following directions, you're gonna be told, and you may have a consequence. So once a week, though. So during the week, I work totally with my compulsories, which is like ages 6 to 12. And it's the same for my 12-year-olds as well. Like, I'm not trying to be friends with my 12-year-old athletes.
That's kind of weird.
Some coaches are so friendly with their athletes that their athletes don't respect them as a coach. And I don't have that problem personally. Now, once a week on Saturdays, I work with the optional girls. Now, some of these girls are 18, 16, 17. Some of them are like 12, 13, but a lot of them are a bit older. Oh my God, there's a moth in my room.
Oh, that's Florida. Hey, that's Florida. You feel me?
Oh my God. Oh, that totally caught me off guard. What the heck? Anyway, back to the subject. So, but yeah, with the older girls, especially the girls that are like level 10s, I am not an authority figure to them. I'm only 23 years old. Like, and I only work with them once a week. So, I'm not their main coach.
Right.
I'm just a coach that comes in once a week to help out.
Right.
So with them, it's still having this boundary of like not being their best friend. But also I'm not gonna pretend I am their main coach who is 10 years older than them and has all of this authority, because that's just really not my place at this time. Yeah, that would be like kind of overstepping the boundary. Exactly. It would be weird. So because while I'm older and I'm a coach, I'm not much older than them. No, you know? Yeah, I had a coach that was only 2 years older than me. And I was like, at one point, when he was at the D1 AA he was at, and I was at the one I was at,
if my team was this is so bad. If my team was good enough, we could have actually played against my coach.
Oh,
And I look at that, and then when I transferred to the D3 school I went to, and then he ended up coming along, it was just like this guy could have really like literally been on my team.
right.
And he's like friends with people that are in my immediate friend group. So it was weird, but even to this day, like I still call him coach. I might even try to interview him about that because I feel like it's an interesting dynamic. Like,
yeah, I wonder what that was like for him.
Yeah. I want to just ask, like, how do you tell a 22-year-old not to do something and he's the captain of his team and he's only like 24, 25?
Right.
You know what I mean? And we could have played against each other. Like,
I mean, especially when you're dealing with men and egos and stuff like that. See, but when I was student coach, so at the University of Florida, since I couldn't compete, they allowed me to stay on the team as a student coach.
Yeah.
And that was a whole thing in itself because I quickly learned that most of the girls, I could not coach them because they didn't want me to.
Yeah.
Like there was this one time, there was a girl, she was vaulting, and she was one of the better ones on the team. She was a consistent contributor. Now she didn't have like as high as credentials as most of the other girls on the team, but she was very consistent. And she was really good. So, but yeah, she was having just a tough vault day this day. She kept falling on her vaults straight to her butt. And she kept making the same mistake every time. And I was like, do I tell her what she's doing wrong? Do I not?
Right.
And I was like, well, this one correction that I could give her is gonna help her land her vaults. She was getting clearly very frustrated.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Let me just try to help her out. And I said, I told her what she was doing that was causing her to fall. And she walked right in front of me, did not look at me, didn't say anything, just pretending I didn't exist.
Dang.
Totally disrespectful. I ended up calling a team meeting and was telling them listen, this is not an easy role for me. I was supposed to be one of you guys, and now I'm apparently a student coach, but I want to contribute somehow. So I was like, listen, I am not going to tolerate this disrespect. And then I said that. I was like,
that's real. Like, I commend you for that, because that's not easy to do. It's really not.
No, it's really not. Yeah, it's really not. So she had a whole fit about it. She told the head coach and everything. It was super dramatic, but I didn't care that she told the head coach. I didn't have anything to hide.
No, you didn't do anything wrong.
No, I literally didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't get in trouble for it either. But she didn't talk to me for months after that. But that's beside the point. So it was weird. The only girls that really wanted me to help them were the walk-ons, the ones that just wanted to make lineup, hey, will you help me figure out what I'm doing on this so I can, get better? And so I would help them out, but otherwise it was boring as heck. I hated student coaching. The experience going to the competitions and stuff was really cool, but student coaching itself,
you wanted to be out there. You wanted, know what I'm saying? And like you said, you're five. See, for us athletes, I just finished my career, and then there's just times a day where someone will take me off, and I'm like, bro, I can't go to practice and tackle anybody today. I wish I could just tackle my boss. My job. They're talking crazy, and I'm just I can't tackle them. So it's just what do I do now? So I just hit the weights extra hard, or I run more, or just find positive outlets like this, or even just talking, fellow people with similar mindsets more. So for you, what was your way of coping with that? Because I like to talk about how people go through things. What was your way of coping without it? Did you find, obviously crying is natural, you know what I'm saying? There's obviously that, and you have to let those emotions out. But what was your way of coping with it? in positive ways?
Well,
or was it all even positive? Like there could have been like some negative, like, yo, like this sucks.
I didn't let myself act out.
That's good.
I literally told myself I could drink once a week.
Okay. Yeah.
No more than that. There's alcoholism and drug addiction runs my family, so I wanted to steer clear of that. So I literally had. Now I was still underage at the time, but you know
it's college. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, I was like, okay, I can once a week. That's it.
Yeah.
When we go out, party, whatever, that's it.
Yeah.
No drinking by yourself. Because I didn't want to get into using that as a coping mechanism. Honestly, a lot of it was suppression. I did not really deal with it. There were times that I was emotional and blah, 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 but I really did not allow myself to grieve. And that's what I'm working through now.
That's good.
I have a therapist. I encourage everybody to have a therapist.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because when I first went to therapy, it was just literally for self-improvement. It wasn't because I felt I needed a therapist. It wasn't because I had some traumatic thing to deal with. It was just, I just want to become the best version of me. So let me talk to somebody and see if they can find my weak points and I can strengthen them and blah, blah, blah. And now we're getting into like a year into therapy. Now we're getting into some deep work. And I am recently discovering that it does affect you. I'm like, wow, I really didn't deal with this. And I realized it after experiencing a trigger. And so I can't even say that I coped with it, because I just didn't.
Still are.
I just kind of ignored it. I was just like, I'm okay. It's okay. I have to move on. That's it. That's all. That's what my mentality was at the time. That was like my survival mechanism at the time. Now
that's the athlete in you, because as the athlete, like you said, because I feel like with my family, like especially on my dad's side of the family, every boy plays football. Like it doesn't matter what you are, like what preferences. If you're a boy, you're a Mason, you play football, strap up, get out there. And it was nasty. Like I've heard every cuss word in the book. I've heard, I've heard everything. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing, I feel like honestly, because of football and some of the coaches I've dealt with, there is nothing that you could tell me and I haven't heard it at least 8 times over. So like I've heard it, I've gone through a lot of hours. And I had to realize, like, a lot of people don't go through that. So in a way, athletes that go through that kind of training and go through like overtraining or like, I don't want to use the word toxic, but toxic training methods.
No. I say that toxic is overused,
right? But
it's still toxic training mechanisms. Yes, I experienced it. I'm sure you definitely experienced it with coaches like cussing you out and stuff like that. Oh
man, on the field, I've had I ain't gonna say that, but I can't say it on camera. But there's been a lot of there's been some times, man, where it came like it was, because like as a boy, you're just like, okay, like you hear this, it's like okay. But when you turn 18 and once I got comfortable with myself as a man, I was like, oh no, we're not doing this today. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's like a real showdown. Like, it's like, nah, like, what's up? You got to see me. Like, it was like that sometimes. So, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like, you see, like, Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
You saw how he ran? Like, people are like, see, normal people would be like, oh my God, he's crazy. But for us, I'm just like, you know how many times I've seen somebody do that in practice? You know what I mean?
do?
So basically, his coach, he was injured and he said he couldn't go out on the field. And his coach just said, you're done for it, like did a throat slash. So Antonio Brown took his pads off, threw his shirt into the stands and then like ran off the field, but like was doing jumping jacks. Like it was nuts. But I've seen people storm off the field before many times. You know what I'm saying? I've had instances in my career where, I was in a note where I was like, I know that I was kind of in a microscope where I was at. if you get what I'm saying, like what's like, I ain't going, you know what I'm saying? But I was in a microscope and I had a lot of people that were looking at me for what I was doing on the field and off the field. Not a lot of people that looked up to me. So there was like specific stuff that was happening, but I knew because of a microscope, I couldn't react the way I wanted to react in that moment. But behind closed doors, oh yeah, it was, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it had to be had out because that's what it is. But I feel like as athletes, we're trained to suppress that. We really are. And when we tell regular people how we really felt in that moment, it's just like they can't even believe it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was programmed to completely ignore any signal that my mind or my body was giving me. I was taught that emotion is weakness and don't cry, blah, blah, blah. No pain, no gain.
Yeah. All of that good stuff.
Ended up in lifelong back injuries. Like, you know, so, I mean, also as a little girl who just wanted to achieve what I wanted to achieve, I just trusted anything my coach told me.
Exactly.
I didn't question it. I just trusted him.
Right.
So, I definitely feel like that was taken advantage of. Because I was literally willing to do anything.
Because that was your goal.
I never told my coach no. Literally. Like I just did anything and every crazy thing he told me to do.
It's like, hey, go jump and do a triple flip, axle, whatever. I don't even know what it's called, but hey, you feel me? Like, but giving it into a more positive note on the end, like, what advice would you give to any young girl or boy that's getting into gymnastics or really getting into any sport that they love and they know that it's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication to get to a certain point? Or like, if you get a girl, like you said, you get the young girls that come up to you now, like, I want to go to the Olympics. Like, what would be like the biggest like key that you would give them? Like,
to really know what you want and to make sure that what you want aligns with the work that you're willing to put in. Really, I mean, and that's hard to communicate to a young child, but I mean, it depends on the kid, but
because I'm about to say, because 10-year-old you definitely made more mature than 10-year-old.
I mean, that's what my coach explained to me when I was 10 years old and I said I wanted to go to the Olympics, and he was like, all right, you serious about that? He's like, it's a lot of work. I was like, I'm not afraid of work.
It's just like,
you know,
come on, bring it.
So that, and do whatever it takes. You know, listen to your body. For God's sake, listen to your body. Push through discomfort. Don't push through like legit pain when your body's literally telling you to stop. Right. To the point to where you're injuring yourself. I never think that's really worth it unless you're in a season, like you're, you know, finishing up a season and maybe you'll rest after the season. But if it's like a lifelong type of, like you're hurting something that's going to affect you for the rest of your life, it's never worth it.
Exactly.
Never worth it. At least not in my opinion.
Because you don't want to be walking weird and stuff like that. And then they're like, what happened to you? Like, oh see what happened was, you know what I'm saying? And then,
I was trying to make the Olympics.
It's just like, what? Like, oh my God, like this isn't the bar conversation I thought it was going to turn to. Like, oh my God. No.
Also too, I think another really big thing is that people are not going to understand. If you want to really make it, people are not going to understand why you say no to everything for most things. But that's what makes the 1% the 1%. Only the 1% get it.
I need to show my sister this ASAP because no, there really is. I was just talking to my boy Javon, and he was just like, bro, when you transfer schools, you transfer to our school, bro, we couldn't get you to go to one party to save your life. You couldn't get you to do this. And I was like, bro, you have to understand, I was already at one school and my parents told me this is my last shot. I can't mess up anything. And on top of that, I saw a trend of people where we're from in Canton. It's a place where people honestly go to retire and die. Like, I'm just being real. Like, it's really a place where, like, we're like for real. And a lot of people get comfortable. So I just saw a lot of people I knew that they would leave, they would come back, work at the grocery store, and then they were just like, they never left and they never like did it. And I was just like, I can't be that way. I got to come back with a job. Like, I'm not going to be the one person that graduates and don't have a job. I'm going to have a job, and it's going to be one of the best jobs. I'm going to have this. And I literally wrote everything down and I did it. You know what I'm saying? But because out of just fear, like I just didn't want to fail. Like I was just like, and I wasn't going to allow myself to. And that's going like to one of the things like coaches tell you and like what you would give the advice to kids. For me, it's something that one of my coaches, Coach Mulvaney, actually told me. He was like, being a lineman, you got to have thick skin. But I would replace linemen with people in general. Yeah. Being a person that's trying to be like successful and do something, you got to have thick skin because you're going to hear and see and be influenced by so many different things. Yeah. And like, it's just that pool sometimes. Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna want to quit at some point or another.
Oh my God, yeah. If you don't want to quit, you ain't try.
Right.
I really feel like that. If you never felt like you wanted to quit, then you ain't trying. In fact, I quit football one year. I quit football and played baseball for a whole year. And then I came back to it, and that's when I knew I loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when I knew I was like, yeah, I really quit. Yeah, my dad was like, do you want to play? Are you going to be, like I said, you know, borderline, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the fourth grade, you know what I'm saying? But like, it was just like, my dad was like, do you want to play? Like, and I was just like, man, I don't know. I quit. I literally quit. But the thing about it, it was over at Heritage Park. It's also where the Little League team practiced. So every week I had a baseball game, I would look over and see all my friends playing in football. And I literally hated it. I hated it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going back. And then I got better, but that's really good advice. So we're gonna end it with my 5 funny but fire questions. All right, so these you can take your time if you want to with them, or you can answer as fast as you want. So for the first question, so me being a football player, and you're now like into coaching, do you think you could actually teach me how to do a backflip on a balance beam?
No.
Yeah, I'm about to say no. You can be honest as heck. Like I have no faith.
There's no way.
No. Yeah, because I'm about to say like there's just so much. Like what goes into doing a backflip on a balance beam? Like I don't even know. Like that's.
I mean, nutty. You got to get it on the floor first.
Yeah, I'm about to say I can't even. Yeah, I'm the guy that got stuck in the foam pit that tried to do a front flip and got stuck. Like they had to stack all the foam so I could step out. There's a whole bunch of little kids looking at me and laughing. It was all bad. Yes. So question number 2. If you were stuck in solitary confinement and could only listen to one song over and over and over for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, like you just like on some asylum type joint, like you're stuck.
Well, my favorite song is Pretty Little Fears by Black and J. Cole.
Okay.
I guess I would have to pick that one.
Okay.
Song.
But it just...
or maybe Love Yours by J. Cole.
All right. Okay, J. Cole fans in the building.
Oh, I love
You're gonna get so much credit for this. Oh my god, your DMs are about to flip. All the J. Cole fans, guys, it's about to be great. All right, bet. If you had to pick a superpower, what would you pick and why? Now I'm gonna be honest, you can already fly. Like we didn't see you fly. Like come on, man. So,
I was gonna say flying too.
Yeah,
because it's so fun.
Yeah,
like I kind of already know what it's like to fly, I guess, but it's
you just gotta land a lot. Yeah.
So I would fly. I mean, probably a typical answer of any gymnast, but
yeah, that's lit. Yeah. All right, bet. So this next one's gonna be funny. If you found $5,000 randomly on the ground, I don't know how you would find it on the ground, but if you randomly found $5,000 on the ground, what would you spend it on?
I would probably pick one other person and take a trip somewhere.
That's lit.
That probably sounds kind of selfish, but I definitely would go somewhere.
Yeah, no, like, no, I like that because normally when you ask that question, it's always something that's like tangible, like clothes or, you know what I'm saying, a car or like something like that. So the fact that you actually said like on an experience is telling because you that probably just means like you just value experiences more than like tangible things. That's cool.
I do. I had I traveled a lot last year and had a lot of experiences, met a lot of people. So yeah. And if I was a man, I would probably just take a trip by myself. But I feel like for me, I'm a little bit afraid to take a solo trip just because I don't feel it's safe.
Yeah. Wait, why you say as a man you should take a trip by yourself? I'm interested in that. Why you say that? Yeah.
If I was a man, I would take a trip.
Yeah. Why you say that?
Well, because men don't face the same dangers in places that you don't know as much as women do.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And I'm small. I'm 5 foot.
Man, look, do not be fooled. Because I feel like you can hold your own. You're 5 foot, but you're like,
men are strong.
True.
Strong.
You're stronger than a lot of guys I know. I don't know.
My legs are pretty strong, like very strong. My upper body, it looks strong, but it's not as strong as it looks.
I would never let you kick me. I would never like nobody could dare me no type of money to let you like kick me and stuff. Like hell no. That's over with.
I don't know. But yeah, definitely would take a trip. I want to go for spring break next week actually.
Oh, that's lit. So speaking of vacations, if you could go on a vacation anywhere on the world, unlimited budget, basically big spender, you know what I'm saying? Big bag Vanasia, VVS Vanasia, you feel me? Where in the world would it be and why?
Probably Africa. I probably want to go all kinds of places in Africa, honestly. I want to see what Africa is like. And I have a friend, her and her husband went to Africa last year for like, I think it was a month or maybe a little bit more than a month.
That's fire.
And she was telling me a couple weeks ago about her experience, and I'm like, man, I gotta go to Africa for sure. Yeah,
that's lit. That's the first time I heard somebody say that. Actually, that's actually really cool. Everybody always say like Bali or like Italy or like France. They're like, no, you say Africa, like the motherland. Like that's hard. That's definitely.
I don't know if anything really attracts me to Europe, to be honest with you.
That's what I feel like Europe is kind of just like. I don't want to say it's like America, but I mean it's pretty similar. Like,
I mean, I feel like the culture over there would be way different.
Yeah, the culture's different, but like, in terms of like the way the streets are and buildings, I mean, like,
Otherwise, other than Africa, I definitely would go to some kind of island somewhere.
Yeah.
Jamaica, St. Lucia, I don't know, something Caribbean.
I got in so much trouble.
Or Thailand, huh?
I got in so much trouble in Jamaica.
You went there?
Yeah, I went to Jamaica. Oh God, I'm about to tell the story again. Okay, so basically what happened was I went to Jamaica, and while we were there, I discovered what Baki Doll meant, which is basically the native dance, but it's a native dance, but it's basically like twerking. And while I had to be 14, 15, but I was way too young to go into like the nightclubs and stuff like that. And basically they didn't know I was that young. Like the ladies at the kids, there's like a kids like resort, and I was there with my sister because I was like watching my sister, but I was flirting with the women that worked at the place, and they're like, oh my God, like you should come to the nightclub with us. And me and my dad have the same name, David. So they basically, I didn't know that they were gonna come and get me from my room. And when they showed up, they were like in these like bras and like it was like nutty. And they said, yeah. And my mom answered the door. She's like, who are you guys here for? And they're like, oh, we're here for David. And then my mom looked at my dad like, what the like, and then they saw me in the back. They're like, no, him. And I was like, oh. Yeah. So they made me write a note to the hotel staff, and the whole time everybody's like, no, you're bad. Like, it was so funny.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I was about to turn up. Like,
makes for a good story.
Yeah,
man, and I wish you would have actually made it in there.
Yeah, me too. And I had the locks and stuff too. And the crazy thing is, like, I had the little mini dreadlocks at the time too. So like everybody was like, "Oh my God, I love your locks!" And like all the women were like, "Oh my God, let me like do your hair like the native way." Like I was like, I was such a sucker for Jamaica. I don't know if I could go back. I would find a whole wife and bring her back. I don't even know.
Hey, shoot, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nah, it was crazy. Jamaica was for sure Jamaican me crazy. I'm so corny. But
Oh boy.
Oh man, but Vanasia, you've been a spectacular guest. I probably might have to split this into 2 videos because like this is so dope and there is so much information. People don't be having. Everybody got ADHD now, man. Ain't nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gonna be a part 1 and a part 2.
Part 1 and part 2, but it's super dope though because like there's just so much information and knowledge. Like there's so much more. Like I already knew you were doing a lot, but there was just so much more I learned about you in terms of your character, your drive, your heart, and and even talking about like actually being open enough to talk about the fact that the darker sides of gymnastics and having to actually get a counselor, and someone that you could talk to. Like that's really telling and cool that you opened up about that. So, anything you wanted to shout out, like your social media or anything like that, where people can find you at and stuff. And
I really only am active on one social media, just my Instagram, Vanasia.Bradley, VANASA.Bradley. I also have a Facebook. I have had an issue with people hacking accounts, creating accounts. So the only social media I have is my Instagram and my Facebook. My Facebook is Vanasia R. Bradley. Anything else is not me.
And see, that's what I'm saying. See, look, I don't have this problem because I wasn't goated. You know what I'm saying? Vanasia,
I had this issue back in middle school.
See, that was just probably girls trying to be like you, or like that was probably like girls trying to be like you, or like Detroit area as a whole. People be scamming dogs. People was probably trying to scam. Yeah. Hey, I'm cute. Take me out on a date. Just pay me $50 for gas money, and then never hit them back. Like,
right?
That's Detroit. But yeah. But thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it. It's the Everything Deezy podcast. Peace.
All right,
man.